is Brian reporting in on day 8 of the most awesome road trip ever, or the road trip of awesomeness. Right now we're heading into the majestic Canadia. We're going on a trip of history. We're exploring the path. Is this the bridge to Canada? Is this it? Okay. It's me again. We're going on a trip of history, I guess you could say. We're exploring the historical route that Lewis and Clark took when they first explored Canadia after the 1803 acquisition of the Canadian territory. We're gonna explore through Toronto, where they met Sacagawea, up through Quebec, and eventually we're gonna come back down through New Hampshire. Right now we're waiting to be processed or make it through the border. Hopefully they'll let us through. I actually shaved for the first time this trip, so I don't look like quite as much as a hippie, but I don't think it helped that much. So did Josh. He doesn't look like as much of a bum. And yeah, we're about to head on through the border, and hopefully they'll let us through. They probably will. My biggest worry is that they won't let us back in, because, you know, the US wants to get rid of all their hippies and kids and, you know.
Kids?
I'll probably cut that part out. It didn't really make any sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna sign out now. Next time I talk to you, we'll be in Canadia.
Get it?
Okay, that was a hell of a lot easier than everybody made it seem. Everybody made it sound like it was hard as hell to get into Canada. That took about 5 seconds, and they didn't even look at my ID. For all they know, no, I'm not gonna say anything on tape just in case.
Right.
But for all they know, I'm not me. I'm a bad person. And this is awesome. This is Canada, everybody. But I'm sure that most people that are watching this have seen Canada before. Look at that, look at that. That's a tree. It's a Canadian tree right there. There's another Canadian tree. And there's a Canadian bush and some Canadian flowers. And this right here is the Canadian road. And is that a Canadian bus, or is that a US bus in Canada? I can't read the plate, but I'm gonna say right now that it's a Canadian bus.
Okay, Brian, what road do we need to be on?
These crazy Canucks, I tell you. We're on road QEW right now, and apparently the use of seatbelts is compulsory. Is that what the sign said? The use of seatbelts is compulsory. Well, let me get one of them kilometer signs. Right now the speed maximum is 80 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, there's a sign.
Oh, 80 kilometers per hour. I think that's what I just said anyway. But, yeah. I personally think that the US should switch to the metric system.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the
And here is Lake Ontario, which just so happens to be in Ontario, where we are. And here we see some of the outskirts of the city of Toronto. Now, Toronto is one of the stops where Lewis and Clark made on their famous exploration of Canadia. It's actually where they met Sacagawea, the French runaway. Sacagawea was a French woman that helped to guide Lewis and Clark through the territory of Canadia back in the early 1800s. See, one of the great things about Canada is you get better gas mileage because we're using the metric system. So instead of a measly 20 miles per gallon, we're getting like 40 kilometers per gallon.
Yeah, much better.
It's amazing. And let's see, we have more of Toronto coming up here after we get past this road and trees and stuff. There's some tower building thing, and oh, here are some buildings in Toronto, some interesting stuff. There's a pyramid looking one, and a bunch of hotels and stuff. Oh, and there is the Toronto airport. It has planes and stuff there. Canadian planes. There are more buildings, and yeah, Toronto. We're from Canadia. I think we're still in Toronto or the Toronto area. Yeah. Okay, so we just ate at Harvey's, and they make some really good burgers. By the way, they're not related in any way to Hardee's. It's Harvey's. I think they're a Canadian chain. Anyway, good stuff. But look at this tax. They charge two different taxes, GST and PST. I have no idea what that stands for, but there's some pretty darn big taxes. And if you notice, everything is also in French, because there is a very large French culture here in Canada, partly because of Sacagawea, but also because of Napoleon's conquest over Canada in the late 1800s.
What was that, the Battle of Waterloo?
Yep, the Battle of Waterloo was one of the largest ones. It took place in Quebec in 1866. Yep, 1866.
67, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that is when Napoleon took control of all of Canada. Anyways, we'll be getting to more of that history as we get to those areas. So, our air conditioning is currently in the process of breaking. But it's cool because we're in Canada and it's not that bad up here. But once we get back to America, it's gonna kind of suck. Oh well, maybe it'll fix itself. Ladies and gentlemen, is what most of Canada is. Trees and grass. And in the winter, snow. Well, not just the winter, but anything other than the summer. Here you have it. This is what Canada is all about. Trees and grass.